Plane crash, act of terror, or DEI incompetence? Let's watch this.
We are learning more details about those on board and the recovery efforts. Here's a live look at the scene right now. As you can still see the wreckage in the water. Rebecca Castor has more from the president.
Officials announced this morning that search and rescue efforts have now turned to recovery. And with no survivors expected, this could become the deadliest U.S. air crash in 24 years.
Scary.
Dozens of bodies have been pulled from the icy waters of the Potomac in the hours since the shocking collision between an American Airlines jet and a military Blackhawk helicopter captured on this EarthCam video.
Hold your positions, please.
That's
on the
scary.
field right now. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river. All runways are closed. Nobody's landing. No one's moving at all.
That's scary.
I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone.
The jet, which was carrying 60 passengers and
60.
4 crew members, was about to land at Ronald Reagan National Airport after taking off from Wichita, Kansas.
Short
U.S.
flight.
figure skaters, coaches, and their family members are just some of the passengers confirmed to be on board. They were returning home from a training camp in Wichita following the U.S. Figure Skating Championship. Wow. The helicopter, which was on a training flight, had 3 soldiers on board. Officials say these were routine flight patterns.
It was a fairly experienced crew, and that was doing a required annual night evaluation. They did have night vision goggles.
As we wait for more information, President Trump and his administration says this tragedy could have been prevented.
It was cold but clear, and clear as you could be. The American Airlines plane had lights blazing. They had all of their landing lights on. You had a confluence of bad decisions that were made, and you have people that lost their lives.
Reagan National Airport was closed after the crash, but it is now reopened to flights. In Arlington, Virginia, Rebecca Castor.
So let's go into the next clip. So on the next clip, that's more so of what Trump was talking about. And so he's saying that he feels like it's the FAA is the issue, and he was blaming their incompetence and their DEI practices for this problem. So he's thinking it's something about the people that they chose to run those towers, and they allowed it to crash. But if you look at also when I was looking at the crash it made zero sense to me, because that's a long way one had to travel to meet the other and to crash. And why wasn't an FAA person saying go up, go down? If they couldn't get the other one to stop, why wouldn't they tell them to move in a different direction? Even though it's going to shock the passengers with a drop, it prevents the crashing of the plane. That's the most scariest thing alive. So I'm gonna drop this clip.
That I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing.
Right.
And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them. They can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office, recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, I mean, actually, their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions. And their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened, because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target. And you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. Wow. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation.
Tell him about
his
it,
government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
Well, hey, he is.
That's one thing I like about Trump. He is about excellence, man. And if you can't fulfill the role with a high level of competency in your job, then, and this is a thing. Now, let me just be very clear really quick. And I know you want to jump in.
No, go ahead.
But when it comes to people with disabilities, I definitely support people with disabilities. But there are certain disabilities that will not allow someone to perform at the highest level.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to, he says, psychiatric problems. Now, I don't know about missing limbs and stuff like that, how that, if a person has all of their intellectual functioning at the high, at a high level on the normal scale, then if you have a missing limb, I don't know how that would impact that job per se. Mm-hmm. But if you have an intellectual disability, that means your level of thinking and processing is not on the same scale as someone who is on the normative spectrum. So that job, like he said, is very high stressful. And many of those people, he say, die early because it's so stressful. So I don't think that type of positioning would be best for them. Now, someone else with a disability who could be in a wheelchair, something like that, I definitely don't understand why that type of job wouldn't be a problem, especially if they are functioning at the normal level of cognitive ability. But come on. So I guess he about to change that.
And what's so crazy is, I'm gonna say about 10 years ago, maybe 11. I was showing interest in wanting to apply for that position, and that position requires a lot to get. You see the numbers on how much it pays. It automatically pays over six figures coming in the door for the position, but then the qualifications and the education to get the role were just so extensive. So I backed up. I said, I don't want to go this deep. Now, probably in later in life, I probably would have done it.
So that's science and math?
All the above.
Okay.
All the above.
Geography?
All the above.
Okay.
Flight simulations. You have to go through flight simulation school. It's everything that you go through to be able to make sure people fly and come in safely.
Right?
So if you hire diversity and inclusion,
just to say you want to meet a certain, level of equality is just insane to me, to put people at risk just for your sake.
And that's what I'm saying. How tough that was to start the process of air traffic control, and to say, okay, we're gonna deviate it we're gonna amend under this term. We're gonna let them come in under this, and then so how many airports have we gone to, and you have air traffic control and people that aren't truly qualified to run that position? And then I'm sure some people got qualified and got really well, but what about the people that do they have a particular person that they faulted yet for this? Because it don't sound like it. It sounds like there's no one particular that they pinpointed.
It hasn't come out yet, but
It
there is
will.
someone
It will.
who dropped the ball, missed the boat, didn't press the button, didn't say it fast enough, soon enough. I don't know. So I'm saying it's like, didn't the plane have all the lights on?
Yes.
Or was it the person in the helicopter who got prideful and ego and didn't want to? I mean, I didn't see him. I mean, what were you doing? Looking at your phone, texting? I don't know. I'm just like,
They should.
How does this happen?
Whoever is the FAA control person who was controlling, because they have multiple people that's one face this way and face this way, face this way. Whoever the person is that's doing that, they should have been sending so much to that person who was about to crash it. It's 9 Charlie. 9 Charlie. You're coming in too hot. You're gonna,
Exactly,
like it should have been a lot of communication.
Like, even
coming
when in process of them, while they're whatever positions they were before they got so close, where was why was there a delay in letting them know? Okay, you're too close. What was the verbiage? Because I'm sure they saw each other, but you mean it was too late? You saw each other well ahead of time, or did the plane not see the helicopter? And that's the sad part. But the helicopter should have saw the plane, because as Trump was saying, the lights, you got all the landing lights, all the lights was bright.
Why didn't he kind of dip or go up?
Yeah, how did this happen?
Because that's the only thing a plane that big can do. They're gonna kind of
take a nosedive.
They can nosedive probably the fastest way of doing it, and it's gonna have everybody panicking, but everybody would have had their lives. Wow. And that would have just kind of went over.
Man, thank God for the competent people that we have that's doing that. Because just think about, it's like we don't even think about catching a plane like we just don't think about driving. You get in the car and you drive to your destination. You want to be safe, so you drive safe on the road. But in a plane, the same thing. You don't think about it. You just feel confident in the person who's flying your plane.
Absolutely.
But you really don't even realize they're flying, but they got a whole team of people that's guiding them along the whole way.
Yes.
Wow.
Whatever that plane crashing might be one of the greatest, scariest fears to think about, that crosses your mind from time to time when you get on the airplane. And when I first started flying, that used to come across craziness would come across my mind all day. But when I got comfortable, that is extremely rare. And to see a plane hit, it's just bone chilling.
Yeah,
this must have been a smaller plane, because 60 people it must have been very small American Airlines jet. And they said that this was not a American Airline. They were like a subsidiary company.
Oh, I thought it said American Airlines.
It was American Airlines, but it's a sub company that they would I guess, to fly their planes. And this must have been a jet. 60 people is this jet. That's not your commercial airline. Now, if your commercial airline that got 300 people on there, that's way whole nother level.
Yeah, but don't sleep or just be half stepping because you have a smaller plane. You treat the airplane that's small or has 60 passengers like you got 100 and something.
Absolutely.
200. It don't matter.
But that was jet style. It had to be just. I didn't know that American Airlines fly jet style planes.
I don't know.
Like
I
private.
have no idea.
That's private.
Did they say
style.
that? I don't know. I don't know what they said about the size of the plane. I just heard the 60 people.
They said a jet. I don't know. Y'all. Praying for those people. I'm going to pray for those families. That's so unfortunate, because I wish at least one survivor, just somebody just somehow made it. They were strapped to their seat and it just went into the water. Like, it would have been
But it's that is why it is just so important to have the right people in the right positions. And if out of all the jobs that we can think about, that is a job that needs career, that needs to have someone who is mentally sound and stable, and who thinks at above average. They need to be able to think swift on their feet, be paying attention, whatever the thing is, they need to be functioning at a high intellectual ability.
To me, that's one of those jobs
for that particular role.
Even though you could be in that position doing that for 20 years, it seems like that would be a job that really keeps you on your toes all the time, because you got all these planes coming in all the time that you got to make sure that and the right time they take off, and at the right time they come and bring it in.
But your mental acuity really needs to be sharp, and you need to continue to do things to keep it sharp, because like he said, I know that's a stressful job. I mean, I can't even imagine. So if you are not a person that can deal with a high level of stress and still be able to make accurate and decisions that are, solid, then that's not the role for you. If you crack under pressure, that ain't it.
That's not it.
That is not it. Wow.
All right, y'all.
I'm gonna be praying for them.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's so scary. Please please,
and I hope he
please
does
don't let a
put
commercial
something
airline ever do that.
in place where
I mean,
it reflects a certain person, you know, people with at a certain level of functioning and capabilities when it comes to their intellectual abilities, cognitive thinking, and how sharpness and their mental acuity is, that they are solid and above average for that type of role. Because there are just some mistakes that cannot be made, and to me, that's one of them.
2025, y'all. Great time to be alive.
It is.
Smash
Love
that
you
like
guys.
button. Subscribe for who ain't. See you on
next
next one.